But we were those neighbors in suburbia that had the backyard chickens and the farm that was busting out of the fences, like the gardens and fruit trees and berry bushes and stuff. We were farmers looking for a farm.
Yeah.
We were a farmless farmer.
Yes, we were farmless farmers.
Hey Islanders, and welcome to episode 150 of the Camano Voice. Today I speak with the founders of Our Legacy Fields. Please welcome Renee Ellsworth and Leigh Fiedler. Hi, I'm Brandon Erickson, and you're listening to the Camano Voice podcast, where I interview local business owners, comedians, singers, and more. I dive into their backstory to find out how they got where they are, what are some of the tips for you to do the same, and find out where they are going. Tune in every week as I interview more of the people you see every day. Hey Islanders, and welcome to another episode of the Camano Voice, where we release a new episode every Tuesday. And if you aren't following my Instagram, I am failing at my 3 posts or 3 things a week challenge, but I am still on Instagram at the Camano Voice, so please follow me there as I attempt to do challenges that I'm failing miserably at. All that to say, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a good week. Here on Camano, it is a nice sunny day, which is great because we haven't had these for a very long time. This week is finally being kind of like a really hot day, so finally getting there. So, anyways, hope you guys are having a good week. So today I am speaking with the founders of Our Legacy Fields. They are located in Stanwood. They are a lavender farm out on the outskirts of Stanwood. And Renee and Leigh both are career women. They have been working in kind of high stress, high energy career field, both down in Seattle for many, many years. And this opportunity kind of came up, and for them, I think they were, they talk about creating a space where people can really do what's important. For them, they were like, we need a place that we can slow down, spend time with friends and family, and connect with people and relax. And many people may know Lavender has a calming aspect to it. So, so they started Our Legacy Farms with kind of that in mind. And so they're located in Stanwood, so be sure to go check them out. I have a link to their website in the show notes, so be sure to check them out there. So we get to get into their background, what their careers were, and how they eventually found Our Legacy Fields and why they decided to start this, why Lavender, how it's kind of gone for them. So without further ado, here's my conversation with Renee and Leigh. Hey Islanders, and welcome to another episode of the Camano Voice. Today I'm here with the founders of Our Legacy Fields. Welcome to the podcast, Renee Ellsworth and Leigh Fiedler. Thank you. I checked the first name and not the last name.
That's okay.
All right. So tell us a little bit about Renee and Leigh.
You want to go for it?
So Renee and Leigh as a couple, we run a business together, but we're also a couple. We've been together almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
We met in 2012, and we started our journey together. We were both very busy downtown Seattle workers.
Okay.
Big careers. I brought 2 kids to the relationship they're teenagers now. They were 5 and 6 when we met. So basically Renee she likes to call herself their bonus mom. But they pretty much see her as mom.
Nice.
And we've kind of evolved over the 10 years as 2 very busy, career-minded, career-focused people into now life-minded, purpose-seeking. Yeah. We don't want to be too busy for life anymore. We really wanted a shift into something that brought us joy and slowed things down and gave us time to visit with the people that matter most, including the kids. And we both have aging parents, and we want to spend more time with, and our friends, and all the things that bring joy in life. So
yeah, that's awesome.
That's who we are.
Yeah. I would say the 2 of us, who are we? We're optimists, hard workers, definitely golden rule followers. We enjoy time with each other, time outdoors. We love the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
We're energetic, even though everything hurts right now because it's farming season, but we still have the energy, the intentions to do great things. And so we've been doing great things for other people and organizations, and we want to do great things for each other, for our family.
Yeah. Awesome. So where did you grow up? We'll start with Lee.
I am from Indiana.
Okay.
And I spent my entire childhood there and went to college there. And then I joined the Navy. And the Navy, after sending me all over the world, landed me in... I was stationed out of Bremerton for a couple of years, but then I went and did a couple of years in Florida. But I loved this area so much, I came back.
Okay.
And I got out of the Navy and I stayed here. So I've been here since 1994, and now it's home. And but Indiana was where I grew up. So.
Okay. Nice. What was it like growing up there?
Well, I always joke that I had a very Norman Rockwell
Yes.
childhood. We didn't have a white picket fence, but we might as well have. I grew up in this neighborhood where all the kids
didn't
were...
need fences.
No one had fences because we all liked each other, and our dogs could go to each other's yards, and all the kids played together. It was literally an oval of a neighborhood, and we were all contained in this oval, and it had a pool, and
Wow.
it was every parent's dream for their child. Come home when the street lights come on, and if you do something, every single neighbor knows who you are and will call your parents, so you're held accountable by everyone. But yeah, Indiana was it was an amazing place to grow up. By the time I hit my early 20s, I was ready to kind of get out and explore. It's very flat and not a whole lot of things for a young, adventurous person to do, especially an outdoorsy person.
Yeah.
It truly is full of corn and soybeans.
And really good people.
I wanted to branch out a little bit, but Indiana will always be home to me. So.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. And Renee?
Native Washingtonian, born and raised.
Okay.
Born and raised in Woodinville.
Oh, yeah.
And back in the day, Woodinville, to me, felt a lot like Stanwood is today.
Yes.
Small town.
Yep.
A lot of open spaces, some farmland still. Back in the day, my friends used to think I lived out in the sticks, and now it's completely unrecognizable.
Yeah.
I haven't driven through there in years, but I hear from everyone it's completely developed, and 4,000 wineries and all that stuff. But back in the day, it was like the Little League baseball fields, Chateau Ste. Michelle. We used to play hide and seek in the little vineyard, and it was just a wonderful place to grow up too. It was Woodinville was my Pleasantville.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous. It is gorgeous still.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
Also-
changed.
Yeah, so the
Just
apple
different.
fell from the tree and rolled a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Yeah. Well, and that's interesting because, I've talked to different people from either Bothell or Woodinville, and they're just they grew up and they're like, it was just like a small town feel and all that. Not anymore.
Not anymore, no. So I grew up and out. I graduated from high school, Inglemoor High School.
Okay.
And didn't want to go straight into college. I didn't know who I wanted to be when I grew up. I didn't know, really what I was good at.
Yeah.
And so I worked all through high school and got an apartment. I was so excited to be independent and be out on my own.
Yep.
And pay rent, have dinner parties with friends. I was so excited for that. So landed in Kirkland,
Okay.
The Juanita area, and got an apartment with a coworker, and just picked up a job.
Yeah.
And it went from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So did you guys, Lee, I know you went with the Navy. Did you guys end up going to college? Did you end up going to college and studying stuff?
I went to college first. I went to Purdue University in Indiana.
Okay. Yeah.
It was kind of my parents are both teachers, so there was never really a do you want to go to college? It
Yeah.
was which college are you going to? And I was blessed enough that they paid for my college. And when I went to college, the prices were very reasonable.
Right.
And it didn't break a family to pay for tuition. So anyway, I went to Purdue. I studied environmental science.
Okay.
I really wanted to be out in nature for my life. And so, oddly enough, that degree landed me in the Navy because the Navy used to have an oceanography program.
Okay.
It has since lost its funding and is no longer, as far as I know, it was shut down by the time I was in the Navy. So I kind of finished out my 4 years, and then I went back to school later because I got the GI Bill, got a master's degree in business. Because I thought, well, if I'm going to have to do anything in this world, it's going to involve business in some way or another. So went ahead and got a master's. Never really. I mean, I suppose it didn't hurt me by any means. It didn't end up getting me a career, but it didn't hurt me. And so, I did go to college and went to the Navy and kind of did that backwards, but that's okay.
Nice. Awesome. And Renee, did you end up going to college as well?
I did eventually, yeah.
Okay.
So in my quest to figure out what I was actually good at, I didn't see a lot of sense in going straight to college straight away from high school. I didn't want my dad to foot a bill for me to try to figure it out.
Yep.
I thought I should develop a plan before I would ask for that. And got a job in commercial real estate, answering phones at a front desk.
Okay.
In a property management office at CB Richard Ellis. And great place to cut your teeth for commercial real estate.
Yeah.
But I come from a family of builders.
Okay.
And so my dad owns a general contracting company. My grandfather was a builder. My great-grandfather was a logger, also a builder. And so a lot of that made sense to me. I understood the language.
Yep.
And loved the smell of sawdust. So I was like, okay, this could be a thing. This could be a pathway. And my career just moved up step after step after step.
Okay.
Following that. So I'm like, I'm good at this. I'll just keep doing this. And so one commercial real estate company to another. I went to Speaker Properties from CBRE.
Okay.
And was there for 5 minutes before it was acquired by Equity Office. And at the time, Equity Office was the nation's largest owner-operator.
Okay, got it.
And it felt big, really big. And Speaker Properties was up and down the West Coast, family owned and operated.
Yeah.
So it felt smaller.
Yeah.
And then EOP came into town, and we were all kind of freaked out a little bit, but I went with it.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen? And my career evolved in property management there. I was working downtown Bellevue.
Okay.
On high rise, always commercial.
Yep.
And bought a condo in Bellevue.
Okay.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm doing this. This is working. This is, the recipe is turning out. And then they shifted our office location, our headquarters location, to downtown Seattle. So I started working out of, it was Bank of America Tower at the time. So Columbia Center now. The city's tallest building. And
okay.
So then Equity Office sold into a million little pieces. It was one of the largest commercial real estate transactions in history at the time.
Wow.
And we knew it was coming. And my boss at the time, our regional senior vice president, said, I think it's time for me to chase after my dream of opening my own thing, my own shingle on the wall. And I said, okay, let's do it. And so I hired myself, essentially. Didn't really have an option. And we got to work and started a small boutique commercial real estate firm.
Okay.
With the intention of being full service one day when we grew up.
Yeah.
And what was 2 people at the time became 5 pretty quickly, and then 25, and now it's 200 employees.
Wow, okay.
Doing really well in the Seattle, Portland, and Denver markets.
Okay.
And so if I rewind a little bit, I was doing a little bit of everything. I was wearing a million hats.
Right.
Starting a boutique, startup firm.
Yeah.
Do all of it.
Yes.
And at one point in time, I sat down with my boss, who is a friend, and he was like, you got to specialize. We're getting too big for you to run a million different directions. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
It was always people first for me. And so I said human resources. I've had a hand in hiring every single person in this company. I want to continue to care for them.
Yeah.
And so then, if I'm going to do that, I should figure out exactly how to do it. So I went off to University of Washington and took courses in human resources management.
Okay.
So that was my around-the-way pathway to higher education.
Yeah.
Where it was purpose first, or figure out who I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And then figure out how to do it really well.
Yeah. Very cool. So this is a complete sidebar, but what was it like working in Columbia Tower? Just because, I mean, everyone that goes through Seattle or a large city with a bunch of high rises, the amount of times I look up, I'm like, what's it like working, like going day in, day out into that type of an office?
Awesome. Columbia Center is amazing, but at Equity Office at that time, we owned it when 9/11 hit. And
okay.
And
wow.
we, DOD, Department of Defense, was in the building, and we knew that we were on a little bit of a target list.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of a target list. A target list.
Yes.
I minimize it from, so that I can still sleep at night. But,
right.
So that was sobering. At first it's very exciting. It still is to work in essentially a vertical city. It has 3 floors of retail. It's a beautiful building. But to kind of be in the heart of the city, was a dream of mine. The hustle and bustle, like you feel that energy. Yeah. The cities are hurting right now. Yeah. It'll get back, but it's going to take some time. But at that time, it was the pinnacle. Like, okay, this is pretty cool.
Well, and that the other thing I think to note is that that's more peak Seattle. Oh, yeah. Like. Things were going well. Mm-hmm. It was looking like when you went to Seattle, it was an amazing city to visit.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yep.
So very cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for entertaining my sidebar there. Yeah. Awesome. So then, so then you were working in Seattle during that time. Then what were you doing once you got out of the Navy?
Mm-hmm. So I went on I ended up being a police officer. I did work for the Department of Ecology, the State Department of Ecology, for a few years, and realized, I don't know, I was over in Spokane, and there was kind of an enforcement component to my job. Okay. And I met a couple of sheriffs, and I thought, oh, wow, well, this seems fun. And my dad also, growing up, I grew up in a small town. My dad was the high school principal and the police commissioner of the town. And so,
So she couldn't get away with anything.
No, I got away with absolutely nothing. Yeah. So I tried my hand as a police officer. So in what year did I start? 2007. I hired on with Seattle Police. Okay. And so I became, again, back in when Seattle was an awesome city. Yeah. Not that it's not anymore, but it's having a moment. Yes. And I too loved the energy of the city and couldn't wait to go to work and had so much fun. And when we met in 2012, we both loved our jobs, loved them. So
there was a lot of purpose there for both of us in our careers to help create great places. Yeah. For her, safe places for people to live and enjoy. Mm-hmm. And for us to build and manage great places for people to work and enjoy. Yeah. And that was a big common thread between us. We want to create place. Yeah. That's important to us. Right. It still is. Mm-hmm. It's just evolved a little bit.
Yeah. So it's evolved a lot.
Yeah.
We just brought that intention home.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you still have friends that are within the police department down in Seattle?
I do.
How are they handling everything obviously we've gone through so much stuff over the last 4 years, but currently, just the state of Seattle and stuff, how do they handle all of that?
I think a lot of people, it's a hard time to be a Seattle police officer. Yeah. I just left in February. I don't technically retire until next week, but I've been burning vacation time. Okay. And so when I left in February, morale is just really, really bad. Yeah. The department's down 40%, so everybody's worked to the bone. Wow. And it's a hard time. I think it's a hard time to be a cop anywhere, but I can only speak for Seattle because that's all I know. Yeah. And they're struggling. A lot of people are stuck, if you will, because they've got families and bills to pay, and they've got to get that steady income. Yeah. And so, obviously, not a lot of people are not stuck and have left, and I'm one of those. I was eligible to retire this year and took the very first opportunity I could.
Yeah.
Because I was one of those with morale that just kind of hit rock bottom, and just, it's unfortunate. I'll always be proud that I was a police officer, and I'll always be proud that I did it for the city of Seattle, but it was time to go.
Yeah.
And I think it's time to go for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Luckily, there are new people out there, young people with the energy, the right energy and the right mindset to go out and do that crazy job. I don't know what they're thinking, but they do. And so good on them.
I'm sure that's...
We're happy that they exist. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm sure that's what the older officers that were there when you signed on were thinking too, like,
I think that's a generational thing. As you become an old crusty cop, you're like, why did you want to do this? And so, I'm grateful for all of them that come in, and that was my last job, was to train new officers. And every one of them that came in, I was like, thank you for being here and taking my place, because this just isn't, I don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah. And I've interviewed and spoken with dispatchers, policemen, firefighters, and just, that type of work takes a toll on you, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally. You're constantly in this state, and I've never interviewed a ex-military, or at least gone into the kind of that background and stuff. But I imagine it's similar, where it's just, there's certain things that, like, our bodies can handle stress, and we can get through things, but at some point your body says, no, I can't handle it anymore.
Yes.
I think that's the key to being any kind of military or first responder. And even now, I think we, social workers, hospital workers have turned into first responders.
Yes.
Especially through
Teachers.
the pandemic.
Yeah.
Teachers have too. And I think the main thing is to know your when, and don't be ashamed of that. And I know for police and fire anyway, there's a real big push for wellness.
Yeah.
And how to keep that life balance of still being able to do the job, but also being able to get away from it enough to keep things turning in the right direction, if you will. So hopefully they keep putting that focus on for first responders, or it's going to be a shorter and shorter career for everybody,
Right.
I think.
Well, and it's funny because one of the other gals that I interviewed that was the dispatcher, she ended up doing flowers. It was like, like the farthest thing away from that, like, what can I do that's just in the garden, relaxing, and and you guys are doing your guys' thing too. So
yeah, you can kind of see what brought us to where we are.
What's away from everything that I was just doing? Okay, here we go.
Let's find the exact opposite. Yeah. And yes.
Yeah. Well, and I do think, especially in Seattle and stuff, you get for the police department and stuff, they're getting hit on literally both sides. Like, it doesn't matter what side you're on. Like, they're getting kind of hit from both sides, and so it's just such a difficult spot right now.
It's always been kind of a no-win position, and we're told that you get told that in the academy. You're never going to please. You're going to please almost nobody doing this job, and so victims, criminals, all of them, they're going to be unhappy with the way you've done this. Yeah. And that's okay. It's just, I don't know, the last few years of just, things have taken a turn, unfortunately. So, but hopefully it'll turn back.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on retiring.
Thank you.
That's exciting. I mean, you're kind of jumping out of the pan into the fire now, but
Yes. Very much.
Awesome. So, and Renee, then, what kind of brought about your retirement, or not retirement, but like moving out from what you were doing?
Yep. We're calling it semi-retirement.
Okay.
June 1st was my last day in the office working downtown, and I've been working remote. My workforce, for the most part, has been working remote since the pandemic started.
Yeah.
Except building engineers need to show up and keep the building operating. We've had property management on the front lines. Someone's got to replace the plywood on the windows.
Yeah.
And our cities have been pummeled for years, and so have the employees. But for me, I'm semi-retiring from a position as a vice president of human resources and organizational development, and I love that job. It is the perfect job. It is such an awesome position to be in. career to embrace. For me, it was us discovering what's enough, and when.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, they climb the corporate ladder and then they perch on the top rung forever.
Yeah.
They just stay put. They post up. And for me, it was never about that. It was, try to accomplish something great, feel really good about it, and when that tide turns, when my interest or purpose starts to shift, I start asking myself, why. Then it's time to reevaluate and turn around and help somebody behind me into that perfect spot.
Yeah.
And for us, it was discover what's enough in life. What's enough to sustain our lifestyle, our chosen lifestyle, to afford that. And at that moment, then make sure that we're measuring twice, cut once, and go for it. And so I hired an amazing team, essentially to replace me.
Yeah.
And so encouraged them to do great things and support their education to be ready for this, to sit in what I consider the coolest seat in the company.
Yeah.
And so once we reached that moment, it was time to pull the trigger. I'm still affiliated with the company. I'm taking the summer off to get this farm off the ground. But I'll be applying my assistance if they need me.
Okay.
They know where to find me.
Yeah.
I'll be out twirling in the lavender.
Yeah. So with human resources, that's obviously within companies it is the greatest joys and the greatest heartbreaks of within a company.
Yeah.
What are some of the lessons or things in growing a company from so small to building out that big of a team?
Yeah.
What are kind of the main North Stars when you're in that seat?
Yeah. It was easy for me because I'm like a high frequency empath. So it was easy for me to determine like what's the best, most generous option out of all the options in front of us. And it was never about being a profit center. We're a highly profitable company, but it was always like we're an employer.
Yeah.
We are a great place, creating great places. This company needs to have the kind of culture where people are proud to be a part of it and go home with energy and proudly share their story with their families and want to do it again.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be there on everyone's retirement day. I wanted to celebrate those things. And so for me, it was creating the kind of company that had the benefits to support people in whole ways. So a wellness program isn't just having a steps challenge. It's financial wellness. Everyone gets a financial advisor. It's physical wellness. It's mental wellness. Everything needed to support the whole person.
Yeah.
And not just them, their whole family.
Yeah.
So for me, it was, what's the ideal company? Who gets the opportunity to help create an ideal company?
Yeah.
And what can I do?
Yeah.
How can I bring those perspectives or those needs of the employees to the table and make great change?
Yeah.
And if a suggestion or if I knew of an employee needing something, chances are somebody else needed it too.
Yeah.
And so implementing programs that satisfy more than just the one.
Yeah. So was that something you guys started out the gate with, or did you slowly kind of build that over time?
No, out of the gate.
Okay.
Because I was there at the beginning.
Yeah.
I was there at the starting line.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just a company, we weren't trying to create something great for everybody else. I wanted to be a part of that too. I wanted to feel energized and good and proud at the end of the day too.
Yeah.
And to be a part of a company from day one, but not own the company, you feel like an owner.
Yeah.
And, I poured all of my maternal energy into this firm.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of time and attention and care that went into all the decision making.
Right.
So it was one of the greatest adventures.
Yeah. Very cool. So you guys had kind of came to that, not full end, but end of those careers. And so what kind of led you to Our Legacy Fields?
Well, we were both getting tired. Well, and not, I guess tired's not the right word, but kind of tired. The kids were growing up and seeing how much of, when they were little, they were both involved in youth sports and all kinds of stuff at school. And I didn't have the time. My schedule was always weird, and she always had to work long hours, and so it got frustrating that we were missing some things, and then we were missing time together too.
Yeah.
We didn't feel like we had enough time to spend together, and vacations were always rushed, and we had to go, we had to go see family, but we also we needed, it was planning
It
a
felt like a
vacation
tug of
should
war.
not be stressful.
No.
And so we started thinking about how to restructure our lives. And Renee touched on it with, okay, well, what's enough? What could we live on? Where could we peel back our time? I'm a police officer, so I could get off the streets and start where I became a detective and started working quote unquote normal business hours. And that gave us at least weekends together and some evenings. And then, just started evolving. And then we, Renee's parents, so her grandfather, I need to go ahead to come back. So her grandfather owned the farm that is now our Legacy Fields.
Okay.
And he bought it back in the 80s, and he raised racehorses there.
Okay.
He was getting older. He was in his 90s. And obviously a 90-something-year-old person is going to have a hard time maintaining 10 acres of pasture. He didn't have horses anymore, but just mowing and general maintenance was becoming too much for him.
Yeah.
And he needed to go, he was going to go live in Montana with his daughter. And so Renee's parents came to us and said, well, I think we need to sell the farm. And we were both like, what?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
What do you mean you're going to sell the farm? And, well, wait a minute, don't sell it just yet. Let us figure some things out. And man, we busted out some spreadsheets and some calculators and how are we, how can we afford 2 mortgages? I don't know how we're going to, but we landed on, if we have to go bankrupt, we'll go bankrupt, but we need this farm. It needs to be our future. So that was in 2017 when we made this decision.
Yeah.
We didn't know what it was going to be, but we knew it was going to be our landing pad for retirement. We knew we wanted to kind of, for the most part, stay in this area. We thought we wanted to do a lot of traveling, but we just couldn't. It was a special place to her as a child, and I've seen it a couple times, and it's a beautiful, beautiful piece of property. And it was like, we cannot let this go. We knew we were at a point where we needed more space and more time together and more time for the kids, and so that just seemed to really fit. And it
was the most perfect and most impossible idea.
Yeah.
But we would always regret it if we passed it up.
Yeah.
And we even told my parents, no, we can't pursue it. We don't know how this is going to pencil. The kids are in school, and we were down in South King County in suburbia.
Yeah.
But we were those neighbors in suburbia that had the backyard chickens and the farm that was busting out of the fences, like the gardens and fruit trees and berry bushes and stuff. We were farmers looking for a farm.
Yeah.
We were a farmless farmer.
Yes, we were farmless farmers.
And so, we knew we needed that.
Yeah.
We wanted space. And there's nothing more amazing than being an open space in the Pacific Northwest in the summertime.
Yeah.
If we ever get a summer, that would be really awesome. But,
someday.
yeah, one day. We're optimists, remember?
We had 3 summers last summer.
Yes, we did. 3 seasons of summertime. So, yeah, we knew we just had to jump for it.
Okay.
And then we drove up to the farmhouse, and it was, my grandfather, he had dementia and was going into a home, and so the hourglass was winding down. And my dad was going to clear out the farmhouse and call the real estate agent to come and list it. And we drove up to see what we could do to help. And it was like that panic attack. Mm-hmm. I don't know how we're going to do this. We got to figure it out. So we grabbed a notepad off Grandpa's desk and sat down on a couch before it got moved out of the farmhouse and just penciled it out and came up with our purchase and sale agreement right then and there. And we'll figure it out. We have no idea how this is going to work, but we'll figure it out.
It was like, well, I can just take overtime. I'll just work overtime and we'll pay for it, which was exactly the opposite of what we were trying to do. But we knew we had to give a little now to get a little later.
Yeah.
It was crazy, but it ended up working out perfectly.
Yeah,
So.
And it was like a domino effect of things working out after that. Like, okay, well, we're going to secure the farm. We're going to buy it from the family. What do we do with it until we retire? And we didn't even know when that date was. So, okay, let's rent it. Who do we rent it to? Well, our farm sitter, the person who babysits our dogs and our little mini pigs and our chickens down in suburbia.
Yeah.
Call her and see if she wants to rent it. Yeah, absolutely. Great. Okay. This is one thing working in our favor. And then one thing after another. And then COVID hits. And we all snap into remote work.
Yeah.
And she was one of the very few Seattle police officers who could work remotely. And I snapped my workforce into remote work. The kids snapped into remote learning.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my gosh, let's do this. Like, let's move up to the farm.
Yeah.
And let's advance on our dream. But before that happened, we went to Squim to the Lavender Festival.
Yeah.
And that was what, 2019?
2019.
2019.
Wow.
And we're like, okay, this is it. This is what we have to try to do at the farm one day.
Yeah.
And then COVID hits, and we're like, let's do it now.
We'll do. Yeah, we don't have anything else to do. Let's start a lavender farm.
So when you guys were looking at buying the farm, you guys had no idea what you wanted to do on the farm, like
Right.
with
No.
the farm.
We just wanted the space
Okay.
up here.
Like my childhood swing was still hanging from the walnut tree. Like it was too close, too
Yeah.
personal to watch it slip through our fingers.
Yeah.
You know, I was very close to my grandmother, and she passed, after I graduated from high school. And, my grandfather, it felt like we were losing him every day.
Yeah.
And so it was like, we can't lose this too. It felt too heavy.
Yeah.
And like we caught kittens in the hayloft of that barn
Right.
that my dad and grandpa built together. Like we
Oh,
couldn't
wow.
we couldn't let this go.
Okay.
We had no idea what we would do with it, but we'll figure it out. We always do.
Yeah.
Our idea was really, we love the Pacific Northwest in the summer, every year except this one. And we knew we wanted to stay here for the summers.
Yeah.
And then we thought, well, we'll just travel the rest of the year. We'll go find some sunshine and cool thing. I mean, this country is amazing. Other countries are amazing. We'll travel.
Yeah.
But we wanted a landing pad up here for the summer and probably the fall too. So that was the only thing we knew. We wanted
Okay.
space and we wanted a place up here.
Yeah.
And
It was a daily conversation.
Yeah.
And we started writing lists down. What are the things that matter most to us? What's tied to our purpose?
Yeah.
What is attached to joy firmly for us? And like, what are all the things that are connected to that we could do with this place?
Yeah.
And community is important. Outdoor space. We wanted to grow our own food. We wanted to create a place for people to come and share this open space with other people in our community. We have amazing neighbors. Like 36th Avenue Northwest is the coolest street in Stanwood. And I'm sorry for
Just
all
that
the
one
other
block.
people in Stanwood.
I think they have the
Yeah.
coolest street.
I will arm wrestle about that. But it's really a great place. And to not share it, would be a shame.
Yeah.
And to tell the story of how it evolved, how it came to be.
Yeah.
It started as
We
my
had-
grandparents' dream, and now will become ours.
We
Yeah.
had a little journal that had a pig with wings on the front. It said, "When pigs fly."
Yep.
She got it for me very early in our relationship. And we always wrote out like
Goals.
our wildest goals, our wildest dreams.
Yeah.
It was not just, it was some financial goals in there. There was just,
The
you
bucket
know,
list of
let's
life.
Yeah.
shoot for the moon. What is
Yeah.
it? And we would do it at least once a year, and sometimes we did it twice a year, and then we would go back and see and watch it evolve. We still have that thing. It's
We've
fun.
checked a
It's
million
fun to
things
read.
off. It's
yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
But when it just goes to show you, and I've always known this, but when you write things down, it almost affirms for your brain for some reason. Like,
Yeah.
It's a plan.
It's
It
truly
is.
what I want to do. It's not just a fleeting idea. I've taken the time to write it down.
Yeah.
It's very strange, but it's,
Yeah. No,
it's
pen to paper
powerful.
has some sort of magic to it.
It does. I
So,
agree.
And the other thing I have heard is not only that, but a thought, no matter how much you wrestle with it in your mind, is still this thought. It's there's no shape to it, no form. When you write something, you have to so clearly articulate what you're trying to say, because otherwise, if you just write, you're going to write this thing and be like, I have no idea what I was trying to
Yes.
say.
It's
Yeah.
gobbledygook.
Yeah, and so, but when you actually are, can figure out, okay, I like travel. Well, what does that really mean? What am I looking for in travel? Oh, it's this. Okay, so does that mean like I'm looking for this part of the world, this part of the world, or
Yes.
and so it starts to narrow that down. But Yeah, that's really cool that you guys have kept this journal and can continually been able
Yes.
to.
In fact, we need to get back on it because it's almost like, well, we haven't quite arrived, but we have. We don't have anything beyond this now, and so we got just add that to the to-do list, which is
it's tough to imagine. Like it feels really great to have created this amazing life,
Yeah.
you know. And we were walking around at sunset last night through our fields, and we're like, I can't believe we get to live here.
Yeah.
You know, look at what we have done. And I will look through photos, you know, of this date last year or the year before, the evolution of this farm. It's amazing. The poor farmhouse, 1932, cute as can be, was falling apart. You know, it was literally falling apart. You know, all the fence boards were falling apart. Like, we've buttoned this place back to, like, the glory years of when, you know, my grandfather and his brother put every fence post in the pasture and built this place, you know, with my dad. And now we get to caretake. And my dad, he lives in Stanwood now too. My parents do.
Okay.
And they had a cabin on Worm Beach. Like, this is how meant to be this whole thing is. They had a cabin on Worm Beach, and at the same time we were thinking about Stanwood.
Yeah.
They were selling their house in Carnation to build on Lake Martha here in Stanwood.
Okay.
And so all of this collided around the same time. But now he pops over. It's 17 minutes door to door from his house to ours, and he can help us with a project.
Nice.
And help us tune up the barn.
Yeah.
Fix the gate.
yeah, he helped us a lot.
It's pretty great.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
So then you guys finally decided on, like, you went to the Lavender Festival and were just blown away by that.
Yeah.
When you guys did that, what did you think as far as like the business plan of building that out then? What did that kind of look like for you guys when you were doing that process?
Well, we met some of the most amazing people, farmers over in Sequim, and we visited a whole bunch of farms during that festival, and they were so warm and generous with their information, and it felt like such a non-competitive business line, you know, like a career choice. They really wanted everyone to have lavender in their yard. They wanted to tell you exactly what this amazing plant does, you know, all the ways to use it.
Yeah.
And they, you know, the idea that we would grow it, they would be completely on the board, and they have been on board. They've come out to visit our farm.
Oh,
and we're
cool.
Like, if you don't grow lavender here, you're crazy. But it first started, we'll plant a couple of plants in the yard and see which varieties we like the best, what does well, if it likes our soil, if we can keep it alive. And then
Yeah, our notebook says 50 plants.
50
we'll try
plants.
50 plants and see. And
tell
then
them how much we planting day was
3,200 plants.
Yeah.
So
So we don't know how to do small dreams. We do big dreams.
it was probably the biggest leap of all the leaps we've taken. You would think that buying the farm would have been the biggest. No, 3,000 plants.
No, hold my coffee.
We were
can do it big.
so out over our skis with that one, but it worked out. They're all alive for the most part.
Yeah.
The farmer that we bought the plants from said, "Oh, you may lose about 5%, so about 200-ish plants maybe." And I think we've lost. It's less than 20.
Wow.
So you do have some loss, obviously, with any plant, but we've had far less. Lavender really needs 3 years before you know for sure it's established. So we still could lose more, and that's okay. But my goodness, we just jumped in, and with, you know, COVID was not a good thing for so many people, and I would never wish what happened to so many people to happen. But for us, COVID was the ability to realize our dream.
Yeah.
And we were able to not only keep our jobs and pay the bills, but to be able to move up here and sell the house in King County. Well, now math works because we only have one mortgage. And now there's no more 2 hours of our day spent commuting.
Right.
Now I can go outside and plant 3,000 plants and weed them. And, you know, we could do all of these things because we don't have a commute anymore. I mean, I still had to go in quite a bit, especially during the riots and stuff, but somebody was always home.
Yeah.
And so, and, you know, the kids are now teenagers. They didn't help a lot, but they did help some. And we're closer to some friends of ours, and they were able to help us. And
A ton, yeah.
it just turned out to be this really pivotal time for us to be able to put the two worlds together. It's
Yeah.
no longer our future world, it's our present world. And
Yeah.
so it was pretty cool.
We fast forwarded on that When Pigs Fly bucket list.
Oh boy, did we. We blew through some pages
Yeah,
there.
we
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you guys have started building towards this, but you guys actually have a grand opening day planned out now,
We
right?
do, yeah, 4th of
Awesome.
July weekend.
Okay.
So July 2nd and 3rd.
Okay.
We're throwing open the gates. We're calling it our big out to pasture
Out
party.
to
And
pasture
out to
party.
pasture for us, as career people, like we're literally going out to pasture. But Grandpa's old pasture it has been transformed into lavender fields. And so we'll cut the ribbon. The Chamber of Commerce is coming up on Saturday the 2nd. We're going to have food trucks and live music on both days, activities for the kids. We've partnered with Lopez Island Creamery
Oh,
to do
nice.
some signature ice cream flavors,
Yes.
which we're super excited about.
Yeah.
Just a lot of fun stuff.
Nice.
And we thought, a while ago, this is how our brains work and our ambitions, I guess. We'll just create a cool place for people to come and have a you-pick field for people to gather a bouquet of flowers. And we had always made soap for ourselves. Our
Yeah.
kids have sensitive skin, so it just was a thing. So let's make soap, let's make oil, let's make bath salts, let's make room spray, like all the things that we enjoyed, we started to create. And so now we've got a whole host of products that we offer. And we've been selling it. I think this is coming up on our 3rd day at the Stanwood Farmers Market.
Yep.
Okay.
This Friday. So we're at the Farmers Market on Fridays.
Nice.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, despite the weather, it's been really nice. It's been fun.
It's been fun. It's a new one.
We don't
for
have
us.
anything to compare it to. So I think
Right.
Everything's great.
one of the vendors in the booth next to us was describing it. She's like, they're new and shiny and happy to be here. Yep, that's us.
Everything's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. So then what are some of the products that you guys are producing right now?
You got to tell the oil story. That's the coolest.
The oil story?
Yeah, I'll tell it. So last year, May 1st, 2021, we planted 3,200 plants with friends and family.
Okay.
And our neighbors came out. It was a one day. We thought we'd get a couple hundred plants in the ground.
Yeah.
We had no idea every single plant would be planted. It was incredible.
There's
Wow.
about 30 of our favorite people in life
Yeah.
came and showed up that day to help
Wow.
us plant.
Showed up big.
We bribed them with margaritas, but
Yeah.
they couldn't have one until
We
they were
catered
done
it
planting.
we catered it with Mexican food, and my dad can make a mean margarita. And he
Nice.
said the bar opens as soon as we're done.
Yeah.
And so everyone wanted to get done. And then we had a big bonfire. It was an amazing day. Like,
Wow.
I still hurt from that day. But then the heat wave, like it literally,
no.
all the baby plants need to be watered in probably weekly
Yeah.
until maybe that first year.
And we were told by all the Pacific Northwest lavender farmers, you don't need irrigation in the Pacific Northwest. You
don't
do not
Don't
need
do that.
irrigation.
Lavender hates, a lot of rain. And it's a Mediterranean plant. And so we're like, okay, we won't install irrigation. And then it literally didn't rain for,
4 months. Yeah.
Yes.
Not once.
Seriously.
We didn't get one raindrop.
Not one.
So we did have to scramble to put in some last minute irrigation after a couple of mental breakdowns in the field.
Gosh. Oh yeah, I cleared the house of all the chocolate. It was bad. There was some tears. That was so bad. A lot of sweat. I don't like to work that hard. But we think the lavender really thrived in that heat wave.
Oh, it did.
We kept it watered.
It loved the heat.
But it loved the heat. And
Okay.
so we had this amazing bonus harvest of lavender. I'm part of this awesome community Buy Nothing group
Yeah.
here in Stanwood, and I just posted on there like, come get free bundles of lavender. Come pick these flowers up, and met some of the coolest people in doing that. Our community is so awesome.
But
Anyways,
we were able to take boxes of cut lavender over to Squim, where we met this woman who's a perfumist, and she distills oils from all kinds of plants, but
Okay.
she has a small lavender farm of her own over there. And so she was going to teach us how to distill oil. And she had 2 different stills, and we knew we probably needed at least one of them. So she said, we can do a small batch in this little still and a big batch in the big still. Just bring this much lavender with you. And we did, and we spent the whole day with her. She was amazing. Yeah. Taught us all kinds of things. We luckily took a lot of notes. Well, Renee did. Took a lot of notes and videotaped some of it. And we were able to distill a ton of oil and a couple of...
She said, you know what? You have to take some of this oil and submit it to it's an international lavender sommelier contest. And some of the best noses in the business of lavender and perfumists smell your oil and then rate you.
Okay.
And so we submitted oh gosh, it probably smells like a foot, because we are brand new. This is our very first
She told us first year lavender doesn't normally win, but go ahead and submit
go ahead,
it.
It'll be fun.
It's
Yeah,
good, yeah.
just, you might get some good feedback, right? Like, cute, try again. So we submit, and we ran two. One's Grosso, so a beautiful French variety that it's a beautiful lavender, probably the most traditional smelling lavender. It's in all of our products, and then a Melissa
variety is a culinary variety.
It's lovely. Pink flowers.
It has a pink
really
flower,
nice, but a sweet oil smell. And so we did distillation runs with both of those and then submitted. And we won gold and silver.
Wow. That's awesome.
So we were floored, totally blown away that's even possible.
Well, we got our plants from a farm over in Squim, and they have all the awards up in their shop. And so the plants of our DNA are the same DNA as theirs, so we owe it to them. But still,
Isn't that cool?
Wow.
I know, our very first distillation ever in the history of our distillation.
And she kept telling us, no, you have to do this. And so she stood back and just talked us through it, and it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
very cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. So we bought our still. We picked the one that we wanted after that practice run, and we'll make oil from hopefully a lovely crop this year.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah. So how has this year been with all the rain and everything that's going on? Because you just got done saying lavender loves the sun and this, and then we have this year.
Water,
we're worried about it, but what can you do?
Yeah.
Lavender, rain can kill lavender. We mounded up our plants. We knew we're in a little bit of Squim's rain shadow. So we get less rain than Seattle, but we get more rain than Squim. And so the farmer from Squim that came over, he said, you're going to want to mound it up. So it's like big potato mounds, maybe a foot high.
Yeah.
And we planted the plants in that. So we're hoping they're okay because their root systems are still in the mound.
Okay.
And we spotted over the winter a couple of low areas in our field where water will collect. And that's what they really don't want, is to sit in water.
Okay.
And so we'll install some French drains this fall to address those water issues. But we're hoping, that all you can do is hope. There's absolutely nothing we can do at this point.
Yeah, we've got 2 or 3 early bloomers looking like they're starting to show color.
Yeah,
everything's got buds.
Everything has buds. Everything's still alive. Like I said, we only lost maybe over the whole year less than 20 plants.
Yeah.
And most of those were little ones that just never took off from the beginning. And so I think, all we can do is just keep going, and if some of them die from this year's too much rain, then we'll replace them and keep going.
And for you guys with lavender plants, are you able to take your own lavender plants and then replant to grow new?
Them?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
We'll take cuttings off of them when we trim them back this fall.
Okay.
And then try our hand. We practiced propagation a couple of years ago, and we're successful. We had a 100% success rate. So I think we've got a teeny tiny little greenhouse.
Yeah.
We'll try our hand at it. But we'll see.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
And so with lavender, is it like ivy or like where you just put the sprig in and you use that?
Yep.
Like there's not a seed?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can grow lavender from seed, but it's hard to do, and you won't get a consistent plant, oddly.
Yeah.
And so really propagation is the way to go.
Okay.
You'll get the exact same plant, exact same DNA. They'll all look the same, and so and it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yes.
A higher success rate. So we'll just propagate, try our hand at that this fall and see how it goes.
Yeah. Awesome. So I know you guys, I'm sure a lot of the focus is on that big opening weekend and everything. But as you kind of look past that and you look into the future of the next 5 years or so, What do you kind of see as the vision for our legacy farms?
Well, we
Fields.
want it to be, a summer farm for people to come to and enjoy. And then we want to close the gate at the end of lavender season and enjoy the farm with our family.
Okay.
And, there's a lot of activities and markets, the holiday markets, those kinds of things that we might participate in. But really we want to stay small. We want to stay quaint. Our area of East unincorporated Stanwood is so bucolic and gorgeous and beautiful. We want it to stay that way.
Yeah.
We don't want it. We don't want to create. We just got out of a big machine.
Yeah.
We don't want to invent another one.
Yeah.
And so, and we really want to encourage people to find that thing and then bring it to that level of enough, and then enjoy that.
Yeah.
Don't let your ambition spiral into something that becomes stressful again.
Right.
And I think it'll take a little bit of self-evaluating to figure out like what's that limit.
Yeah.
Where is that? And we've been tested a couple of times. A couple approach us for an idea of having a wedding on the farm. It's like, oh gosh, do we want big events on the farm? We're not really sure.
Yeah.
And so there's some ideas noodling. But for now, I think we just want to be a small, quaint, relaxing element in our community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the farm itself our vision for the farm has always been that it will be a place for people to come and relax and get away from it all.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is for us. And we
Yeah.
really want to project that to anyone who needs it.
Yeah.
Whatever your too busy is, come here and get away from it. And so it's not about coming to our farm to buy our stuff or to do, we're not creating a space that is a high-end spa-like place. That's just not our style. We want it to be a farm, first and foremost, 'cause that's what it's always been, that happens to grow lavender, and we'll process this lavender and make products if that's what you want to buy. But we're literally letting people borrow blankets to go sit out in the field and just smell it, or sit in a rocking chair and read a book, or take a nap, or we don't care if you buy anything. Please don't harm anything while you're here.
Yeah.
But just come and get away from it. Take a deep breath. Whatever it is that helps you reset, and that's truly our goal for the place. That may evolve as people say, well, maybe you should do this, or have you ever thought about doing that? We'll take all of that into consideration.
Yeah.
But the profit center is not ever going to be it. That's not ever going to be our focus. We set this up so that, financially, if it does a little bit, that would be great, because then we could go on a nice vacation every year. But if it doesn't earn a dime, we're okay. We don't need it to pay our bills. And so I think for that reason, we'll always be able to keep that focus of this place is just a place for you to come and enjoy.
Yeah.
However enjoyment looks for you. And I think we've said it so many times, that's our focus. Let's stay on that.
Yeah.
And not get, because it's really easy. People want to know.
Yeah.
Oh, well, set up a website and sell your stuff online, and then you'll increase your sales. Well, I don't even know what my sales are yet, let alone how to increase them. We don't want an online store, because that's not who we are. We don't want to be in our basement packaging lavender products to ship them out in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
We want to create it because we like to make crafts. We like to do these things. We've had some phenomenal conversations in our basement laboratory where we're making these products from scratch.
Yeah.
It's been fun. It's been meditative. It's been relaxing for
It's
us
a lot of fun
to do this.
But to do it all year round for
Right.
online sale, that doesn't sound fun anymore. That sounds like a job.
Yeah.
So I think our job is to take the job out of it.
Yeah. It needs to always be fun for us, but it also just needs to be more of a place than a thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Is what we're looking for.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, awesome. So I like to end every podcast with some rapid fire questions. So the first one is, what purchase of $100 or less have you enjoyed the most in the last 3 months?
I've got a good one.
Go ahead.
All right, so the Stanwood Camano thrift store
Yeah.
or food bank, amazing. They have 50% off Fridays on furniture, and I love a bargain. So in our effort to finding enough, I've always loved a good yard sale or estate sale, or I'm a thrift hunter.
Yeah.
But I went down for 50% off Fridays on furniture and found this awesome desk. It was on sale for $30, and so I got it for $15, and it is beautiful. It's a mid-century modern old desk, wood desk.
Wow.
And it's now the checkout counter in our little farm stand
Nice.
in our barn. Yeah, it's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that's definitely mine.
Just to piggyback on that, the whole farm is, or the whole barn is the product displays, the checkout counter, everything is all either repurposed from the farm or she picked it up on the Buy Nothing group. Like we've really intentionally tried to not buy new things. And so just piggybacking on your, she did buy the desk, but again, it was from the thrift store. So
that was a deal. Yeah, super deal.
Yeah.
But we want this place to be approachable. You know, I want people to feel comfortable bringing their children into this area and not feel like they're going to shatter anything.
Right.
But and also to try to encourage other people, like, you can do this and do it on the cheap. You don't have to be a lottery winner in order to achieve your goal or set up a shop. It can literally be out of pallets and thrifted items and, you know, free bookcases and stuff. Like, I don't know, it's been a fun journey.
Yeah, we've evolved over time. I mean, when we first had the marketplace, it was basically all eclectic displays, like hobbled together tables and all sorts of stuff. We've evolved certain things, which has helped kind of like, so you can actually see everything when you walk in.
Yeah,
because things were like way over your head, literally, and you're like, I don't know what that is. So, but yeah, it has a different feel when you see that.
Yeah. Sure.
So. Awesome. All right. Who is the most influential person outside of your family in your life?
For me, it's my boss. He took a chance on me. Well, I didn't really give him an opportunity.
He could have said no.
He could have said no, but he wanted to start his dream, and I was on board for that.
Yeah.
And he trusted me enough to let me go on that ride with him, and we got to this groove where, like, I would complete his sentences, you know, and we created this flow of starting this commercial real estate firm where we just understood each other's intentions and the goals.
Yeah.
And he's inspired me in so many ways. How to work really hard for what you want.
Yeah.
You know, how to take a dream from an idea, you know, the concept to reality. I had that example over and over again in my life. You know, my father started his business from scratch out of the spare bedroom in our house. And I couldn't pick him because you said non-family member. But yeah, definitely my boss.
Yeah.
And when I came to him with this idea, you know, there were tears, of course. I was like, what are we doing here? But 100% support. Like, how could you not?
Yeah.
You know, all of your ideas and intentions are in the right place, and you're focused on the right things, and I support you, and we'll make it work.
Yeah.
As long as we can hit an emergency button and call on you, and you'll actually pick up the phone, then we're okay. But go live your dream. Yeah. And that's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, how many people have the pleasure of having a boss or supervisor that just says, yeah, go do it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It took me a little while to think of this, because influential or inspiring, I've had a lot of inspiring people in my life, but influential, and I kind of went back and forth on a couple people, but I think my very first sergeant, his name is Jake McGann, he's retired. He was so much fun to work with, but he always was preaching at us, it's not about being right or wrong, just go be a good cop, go do the right thing, go help the people. And, you know, paperwork sucks, but do the paperwork, and he would always send my reports back to me. I need to know what you mean by this, I need to know what you mean by that. And I'm telling you, this is gonna help you one day. He was a very tall man, so it felt like he was talking down to me, and he had this very deep voice, but he would pat me on the head, literally. You're gonna thank me for this one day. And it ended up serving me very well. I ended up in court a couple times, you know, justifying my paperwork, and I remember smiling to myself thinking, thanks, Jake, because now I remember why I wrote that and what that was about, because I stopped and expanded on it. And he influenced the kind of cop that I was. And then when I became a trainer to new cops, without pointing my finger at people and using my deep voice, I certainly didn't pat anyone on the head, but I tried to remember, this is what Jake taught me, and that's what I'm going to teach them. It's the right way to be a cop, and I want, everybody wants the good cops. We spend a lot of time talking about the bad ones, but let's all try to be the good one. And so this is how it gets done, is you just do it the right way. It's not that hard. Sometimes it's the longer road, as it was with anything in life. So I think he influenced.
That's very cool.
Influenced me the most.
That's awesome. All right, this is a fill-in-the-blank question. I know this is weird, but I've always wanted to blank.
I know this is weird, but I've always wanted to be a farmer's market vendor. I've been going to farmers markets forever.
Yep.
And we've traveled. We've had the privilege of going to amazing farmers markets in Italy and in Peru. And it is such a collection of community and their good works and their talents and their joy, and everyone's sharing that with one another. And it's a great way to like put your finger on the pulse of your region, of your area.
Yeah.
And I've loved that. That's just such an inspiring and happy vibe for me. And now to be at the farmer's market here in Stanwood is like, dream realized. That's checked off in the When Pigs Fly book.
Nice.
Yeah.
After the first market, I was like, well, this is it. How was it? And she's like, this is amazing. So that's good.
Shiny.
I know this is weird, but I've always wanted to learn to play guitar.
Yeah?
And you can't see on a podcast, but I have the most insanely short fingers, and it's really hard for me to play guitar. I've picked it up and tried 3 or 4 times. I have a guitar hanging on my wall. I have the time to learn it.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's going to happen.
No, we're going to figure it out.
We're going to figure it out.
It's in the book. It's going to...
Yeah, she has this vision of me just busting out the guitar and not singing, but...
I'm going to make the campfire. There will be a Pendleton blanket and some, like, whiskey and the coffee, and I'm going to hand her the guitar, and it's going to work.
Yeah.
There we go.
So,
I like it.
I still want to.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of examples out there of people who have learned to play guitar or piano that don't have, the ideal hands or whatever, and you can do it.
So you're saying my excuse is not a good one?
You got to be like Dolly Parton, grow your nails out.
There
That's
it
how
is.
she strums.
That I should be like Dolly Parton. Yes.
All right. Who is an interesting or fascinating person that I should interview next?
Gosh, we've got a couple.
We wrote down a couple.
Yeah, we've met amazing people since we moved here. Like all of our neighbors, you should know all of them. You will love every single one of them. Christy and Joyful from Little Roots Farm.
Christy and Joyful?
They are so cool.
It's Little Roots Ranch.
It's Little
is the
Roots
name of their
Ranch.
business. They run a CSA that I believe mostly provides produce on the island, I believe.
I think so.
Okay.
But she's got a new YouTube channel that's awesome. I watch every single one
nice.
of her episodes that come out. You call them episodes? Clips?
I think so.
Yeah. But such happy people chasing their dream.
Yeah.
And we love that. Like, the world needs more people like that.
Yeah.
Kimberly from Rocks and Dirt Bakery. She's here on Camano Island. She's actually going to come to our grand opening and do a couple of culinary demos for us.
Oh,
which
sweet.
is awesome. Gosh, there's so many people. Farmhouse Flower Farm.
Farmhouse Flower Farm. Marin, I believe her last name is Mavis.
So nice.
We just met her. She's very nice. She's running,
more than
I
just
think
dahlias.
it's
Like, she does
peonies
so
and
much.
dahlias, and she does a lot of flowers.
We drive by her farm all the time. It's close to our farm, and just like hearts in the eyes. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Nice.
But she's chasing her dream too.
Yeah?
And we love dream chasers.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And if you guys think of more, you can always email me more as well. I'm always looking for new guests. All right. And lastly, what piece of advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Invest early and often. Max your 401k. Write it out. Write the dreams down.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I've got like a million dadisms. You know, my dad, he never gave me very specific advice. Like, I would go to him, tell me exactly what to do, and he would give me the dad, like, well, you got to measure twice and cut once. Like, what does that even mean, Dad? And it's not until later in life you're like, okay, yeah, the cryptic, dad advice. But just pay attention to what lights you up.
Yeah.
Pay attention to what you enjoy. Your occupation is attached to that somewhere.
Yeah.
And, chase your purpose in that way. Do what you enjoy, do what you're good at, and chances are those two things will connect you to what you're supposed to do. And then watch as that evolves throughout your life. We could be very well going through one of the greatest midlife crises of our time, but it's awesome, and we're here for it.
As long as it's fun.
Yeah, exactly. Let's ride this wave. But just pay attention to how things change, and don't be afraid of a reinvention.
Yeah.
It might sound weird, but I would just kind of high five myself and say, just keep going, kiddo. Because I had no fear from the beginning, and I don't have it today, and I'm so grateful for that, and I don't know where I got that from.
Yeah.
So my parents are very, hey, let's think about this kind of people, and so I'm just glad that I've lived. I don't have any regrets in my life, even though, who knows how you pick one door over the other. I don't know, and I don't care, because it's led me to here, which is great.
Yeah.
And so I'm really grateful that I'm just one of those people that's like, oh, you want to try a lavender farm? Let's go for it. Why not? What do we got to lose?
That's awesome.
That's great. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me on the podcast today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
All right. And Islanders, I will talk to you on the next one. Well, a big thank you to Renee and Lee for joining me on the podcast today, and thank you for listening. If you haven't already, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps us be found by other Islanders like yourself. And for more information on this episode, you can go to camanocommons.com/podcast. That's camanocommons.com/podcast. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.